We now want to take you to Mombasa, where the 28th Engineers Summit of 2021 is happening. It's in its third day, and O'Brien Kimani has been there since Monday. O'Brien, what's the latest from that summit?
Well, thank you, Betty Kiptum. I mean, it is day 3 of the 28th session of the Engineers Conference here, taking place here in Mombasa. And of course, conversations around how engineers can help drive economic growth going forward. And I'm now joined by the president of Institution of Engineers of Kenya. This is Engineer Nathaniel Matalanga. Thank you very much, President, for joining us. I mean, for the last 3 days, you've been camping here. What so far are the takeaways?
Thank you very much, Kimani. The main takeaways we've been discussing, this is the third day, is the way we can accelerate the recovery of the economy by the involvement of our members. One of it to embrace the women in engineering, encourage young girls to take up STEM courses, go around schools. We hope we are going to be able to actualize this, to talk to students to embrace STEM courses, both girls and boys, so that we grow the requisite number of engineers in Kenya in the coming days. One of the fastest ways also we can quickly accelerate the economic recovery is to revive the aviation sector, which was really hit during the days of the pandemic. And there are simple ways of doing this, which we have discussed today. We're going to put it in our resolutions and share with the implementing agencies. The other thing we have discussed is the need to review the learning and of engineering courses in our schools to ensure that they align with the new norm, because there are a lot of challenges we faced during the days of COVID, and they, of course, lessons learned. To embrace technology, the Internet of Things. And also the other things that we've learned today is the need to be active, the need for engineers to be active and ensure that they cooperate, they do their best in the quick implementation of projects. We've got a very good presentation from the presidential delivery unit, and we have assured them that we are going to cooperate with them to ensure that all the projects that the country is implementing are fast-tracked.
And one of the issues that has been raised by some of the young engineers is, of course, the cost of education, if I was to say so, in regards to engineering, the course. And they are saying that somehow it is very high. Is there any way this can be brought down?
It is possible to bring it down, the cost that is met by the student, but it's not possible to bring down the cost of the education, because teaching engineering is expensive. And we have proposed, and we got into discussions with the president. The information we sent to the president was that the appeal that we should set aside 0.5% of the infrastructure budget to be made available to the training of graduate engineers, making job opportunities available to them, so that as soon as they graduate, they go through a proper mentorship, a proper internship process for 3 years, so that they are able to transition to professional engineers. By doing this, the country will be able to grow the numbers. You know, any country that has developed, that rate of development is dependent on the number of engineers to the population. In Kenya, we are doing badly, so we need to bring down that money. We need to grow the numbers of engineers.
President, thank you so very much. I mean, we'll continue engaging with this topic. And I want to turn our focus now to also a very interesting topic that is expected to take place here today, is the involvement of engineers in Kenyan politics. And joining us here is Larry Gumbe, engineer. He's a former member of parliament. I mean, Nicholas, not Larry Gumbe. Nicholas Gumbo. He's a former member of parliament, and now he's joining us here. That is supposed to be your presentation today. Having been a member of parliament and now as an engineer, I mean, how do you manage to juggle between the two?
Well, thank you very much, O'Brien, and thank you, viewers. It's easy, really, because for us engineers, we don't exist in the abstract realms of life. We exist in the real world. What do I mean by that? I'm an electrical engineer by training. If you ask me to light up this building, my job is not yet, even if I bring gold chandeliers, my job is not yet done until the building is lit and provides adequate light. If it's a structural engineer, no matter the concrete mix, if the building can't stand, then he has not done his work. So we don't exist in the abstract realms of life. We exist in the practical realms and the real realms of life. And I think to some extent, in terms of professions, I think God himself must have been an engineer because he created things and we also create things. So we are just doing what God commanded us to do.
Before I let you go, tell me things. I mean,
yes.
How do we elevate engineers into positions of policy making?
I think it's important. By the way, there's a study that has been done worldwide, and it's shown that countries that do not devote enough budget to the training of engineers usually lag behind in development, because there is an empirical relation between the number of engineers in a country and the level of development in that country. It's a direct relation. So really, if these are the people you need to drive the economy, I can tell you for a fact, and while not demeaning anybody, I once read an article somewhere that if you go to a country where the ratio of engineers to lawyers is 1 to 1,000, then you can predict the level of development in that country. But if it is the reverse...
Anybody below the belt?
No, I'm not trying to hit anybody. This is something that I read. The ideal situation should be the number of engineers to lawyers in a country should be 1,000 to 1. Then you have things moving. Because like I told you, we do not exist in the abstract realms. We exist to create things. We exist to make things work. If you engage a roads engineer to do roads, it doesn't matter the mix of concrete, the sand, the soil, and whatever. The road has to be smooth. The road has to be properly, the signage has to be proper. Yeah, so we exist in the practice. So for me, I think Kenya stands to gain a lot if we can involve more and more engineers in positions of policy making, because we deal with the real world, nothing else.
Very good.
Yes.
I mean, but the truth of the matter is we need lawyers, we need engineers, we need doctors, we need everyone else.
I wouldn't talk for lawyers.
Interesting
They are there to make policies
there.
and to make laws.
Interesting conversations there that O'Brien Kimani is having with Nicholas Gumbo, a former member of parliament, who is speaking about the role of engineers in politics. And earlier they had alluded to the role that engineers play in ensuring that projects are not delayed but completed on time. Of course, that is from the Engineers Summit 2021, the 28th edition of that summit. It's happening in Mombasa. And O'Brien Kimani has been on that bit, and he will be updating us on the latest in our subsequent bulletins.